Welcome to Black Writer Therapy, the podcast where Black women writers come to heal, share, and be their most unapologetic Black woman writer selves. I'm your host and unlicensed therapist, Alashawn, and I'm excited you decided to spend this hour with us. Whether you're joining for the first time or you're a returning listener, this is your space to explore the art of storytelling, find inspiration, and connect with a community of bold and brilliant Black women writers.
Well, Ella, today we have Latasha Crystal, a South Florida writer who discovered her passion for storytelling in the 8th grade. She honed her craft by obtaining an English degree and delivering diverse projects. Latasha has written everything from short stories to magazine work. Now, Latasha explores genres and inspires readers with captivating narratives. Beyond writing, she enjoys various hobbies that complement her literary pursuits. Latasha is an avid reader, pianist, and gamer. When asked what she hopes readers will come away from her debut middle-grade novel, Rocky Crescendo, Feeling, Latasha said, "I want my readers to become as attached and invested in my characters as I was in Sharon Draper's Battle of Jericho." Latasha Crystal, Ella will see you now.
Hello, Miss Latasha Crystal. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on the Black Writer Therapy podcast. And I hope that my proverbial couch is comfortable.
Yes, it is. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for playing along with the whole proverbial couch. Some people look at me like, okay, sure. So we've already shared your bio, and so the listeners know a little bit about you. But I'm going to dig a little bit deeper because, well, I'm nosy, and that's what I do. You are a middle grade school writer.
Yeah, like middle grade, sort of high school level-ish. The first book that I wrote was more so middle grade. The main character is 14.
Yeah.
I'm writing another one right now where the characters are a little bit more older. They're still in high school, but they're seniors instead. So a little bit of both.
Nice. So you're going over into new adult territory.
I'm not sure if I would call it new adult yet, because I'd imagine new adult would be more for people.
Freshman college.
Yeah, it ends with them graduating, but I haven't gotten to new adult yet. I prefer to stay like within the school.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't think I've heard of anyone writing specifically for high school.
Well, I don't. It's fun. So
yeah, I would imagine. I taught high school for like ever, and that's the one thing I won't foray into is writing school-based like fiction because I am so afraid that my years of teaching will bleed onto the page, and God forbid someone. Wait a minute, it's not me. You're talking about me, right? So I'm like, oh, stay away from that. But I have not heard that. Now I'm going to stay to high school. I know the middle grade, but what are they? That would probably be YA, right?
Yeah, I figured it was roughly YA. I was kind of digging deep into the genre, and I thought that mostly YA was the new adult, like in their 20s. But I just always call it YA because it's easier, to be honest.
And you know what? I have come to understand, Latasha, about genres is that I never really stick to one genre when I'm writing. I'm always blending. They're always kind of feeding into each other. So YA, new adult, high school, middle grade, you're writing for the younger folk.
Pretty much, yeah.
There we go. So what is it? You said that you knew in the 8th grade that you wanted to write. And I wish you were like the only writer who's come to my show to say that. But most writers said, oh, it's the 8th grade when I realized I wanted to be a writer, right? And so I'm like, what is it about the 8th grade that kind of solidifies that need to write for so many of us?
Well, I've always been really imaginative, and English was always my favorite subject in school. I used to always like writing, but I do remember, I believe it was when we were writing these short stories, me and a group of friends, we were all writing a story together, and then it was just really fun. I enjoyed being able to kind of, I like to say, live vicariously through my characters, as if like writing scenes that if I was like this, I'd be able to do that, or stuff like that. Or like if I were to go back in time and to be able to like do that, then I would with the characters that I have.
I like that. I like that. That's an honest answer, right? Because I can tell you, I would definitely go back if I could write my middle school experience
Yeah.
as a do-over.
Yeah.
I would so do it, and I mean, really, in a New York minute. Not that my middle school was like, I don't think the experience was horrible. I just remember feeling so awkward and so out of place.
Yeah, sounds about
All the
right.
things, right? Like all the things. And it didn't matter if I had friends. It didn't matter what was happening. I just remember feeling completely like a dork the entire time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was always worse for me because I was so introverted and so shy. I'd never be the first one to talk to people. It was hard to, I did have my small group of friends, but it was hard to make new friends even though I wanted to.
Hmm.
I was always too afraid, like, this person's popular. I don't want to talk to them. Like, we don't mix and stuff. So,
Isn't that the weirdest thing? That whole
mhm.
popularity thing in middle school. And it's huge. It
Yeah.
is such a huge factor in being a middle school person. Like I have 3 daughters and obviously they've all gone through middle school. And I just remember like thinking, I wish I could not have them experience this, you know? But I think it's that middle school year that kind of helps define who you are and who you are becoming. And maybe that's why it's so integral. And maybe that's why so many people love writing middle grade fiction, because the psychology behind it alone for me is like, ooh, that's
Yeah.
something to look at, right? So you said that you have honed your skills by getting a degree in English. Smart woman of letters. Welcome to the club, right? And diverse projects and magazine work. So I'm interested in these diverse projects.
It was different classes. Instead of just focusing on fiction writing, I've done other stuff. I've taken some screenwriting classes. I've taken playwriting classes. And when I was in college, I was an intern on the school's magazine. It's called Coastlines. I didn't really do much of the writing. I was mostly on the social media, but it was still a fun experience to be able to be behind the scenes and kind of see like the makings of magazines.
Yeah, no, really, because the school-based, these are college magazines. So those are really like people tend to discount them, but like these are your journals. These are your literary journals that are out there in a lot of ways, right? So yeah, that's cool. I have had some interaction with screenplay writers and producers. And what I have found is that people who are familiar with screenplay writing tend to be really great, and I'm going to say middle grade writers, because of the use of economy in language and how you're able to break these scenes down. I mean, that's what I've been told, and that's what was expressed to me by other middle grade writers who seemingly all know the secret. Take screenplay writing, right? Because the scenes are so like succinct and like, I don't know, you just dive right into them as opposed to having to work your way up. There's something to be said about that. So good for you and branching out. The old lady over here is just starting to branch out in my workshopping and all that stuff. Now, my last question from your bio, because I always love when there are multi-talented folk in my space and sitting on the couch. You play the piano.
Yes.
How long have you played?
Honestly, for as long as I can remember, I'm mostly self-taught.
Wow.
But then I've taken some classes in school to kind of get a little bit better with the classical music and everything, but primarily I just listen and play by ear.
You fortunate girl, you fortunate girl. Like the fact that you can just pick music up like that is amazing. Seriously, I absolutely love when someone says, I am self-taught and I play by ear, right? I play nothing. Okay. Let me put that out there, except for little like weird, like, hand drums and all that stuff. Only because it doesn't matter what you do, they sound great. What is your favorite classical piece to play?
The song is called Arabesque. I'm blanking on the name of the composer, to be honest, but
if it's the same Arabesque that my daughter's marching band did in her sophomore year, then I think I probably know which one you're talking about. Debussy.
Yes.
He is my favorite. He is my favorite impressionist composer. And I was just like hoping that you were going to say Claire de Lune, but it's okay because you did Arabesque, right?
Yeah.
And I love him. What is it about Claude Debussy that makes you say Arabesque?
It was just the song, really. I'm sorry to say this. I'm not too familiar like with most of the piano composers. I mostly play the today's music, the pop, like stuff that I hear on the radio. I've learned most of that like in classes when I was in high school. But I don't know, it was just kind of fun playing it seemed, and it was pretty easy to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And
Says Debussy, it was pretty easy to learn.
yeah, that one song was pretty, it was fun. I can't really explain. I just like it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, and I don't know a lot about classical music. I only know what I know because I made my girls made them play an instrument. I was like, choose something, right? Choose something. So there's a violist, a cellist, and a flautist. That's what I have here. But so just listening to them and then growing up around music, but I have this weird connection with Debussy. I just absolutely adore all of his music because it's, I don't know, there's a rhythm and there's like this lyricism in it that goes through, and it just like, it is a story. For me, when I'm listening to it, I'm like, there's scenes that I'm seeing when I hear his stuff. And the Impressionist period was one of my favorites. So for painting, writing, and of course, music. So that is great. And you have made my cool girl list. We do. All right. I ask all of my guests this very same question every show, because that's what my show is about. It is about writing as a healing medium, writing as a way to kind of get what's here, right, in the head and in the heart into the world so that it can be processed either by you or by someone else. And so I will ask you my favorite question, which is, how are you healing today?
Like today or just
Today.
I'd imagine it would be something trying to learn to put myself first a little bit because I've always been a people pleaser, and sometimes it's really hard for me to think for myself, try to rely on other people to make decisions for me. I think now I'm starting to kind of learn to set boundaries and kind of ask for what I want. It's still not perfect. I'm still learning, but I feel like definitely like now I've gotten a lot better at it than I have in the past. So it's just mainly learning to figure out what I want, what makes me happy, and what I can do to set boundaries for myself to keep the peace. That sounds lame, but I don't know.
No, it does not. No, ma'am. That does not sound lame. That sounds very evolved. And that is a journey that I believe, I don't know what happened, but it's like, it feels like the collective of Black womanhood decided that we were no longer putting everyone first outside of it, that we were going to start putting ourselves first, and we were going to start setting boundaries, and we were going to do and be what makes us happy. So no, it doesn't sound lame at all. It sounds right about right. Right. And the fact that you're like a younger bird than myself and you have started this journey in this stage of your life is amazing. And I'm like, yes, we love it. We're here for it. Because so many of us, myself included, like start the journey in our 30s or after our 30s, but definitely in our 40s. That's when most Black women realize, wait a minute, I've been giving most of me to everyone else, and now I'm depleted. So kudos to you. I love that answer, and I love that for you.
Okay.
I always ask, you're welcome. I always ask, oh my gosh, now I've had this really weird moment. I do this. So I asked also, what is the most cathartic book? And you said yours hasn't been published, or perhaps it hasn't been written yet. And I was like, oh, I don't get those answers.
Yeah, I'm more of a happily ever after cutesy story writer. When you asked that question, I did like think back to when I was taking some of my writing courses in college, how my boyfriend at the time, he mentioned that you're writing a lot of dark stuff. One of the stories that I wrote was it dealt heavily on mental illness, particularly a daughter who was dealing with a mother who was schizophrenic and everything. And it was a short play that was basically a conversation between the father and the daughter about whether or not they should put the mother into a mental institution. Another one was about domestic abuse, and what was the other one? Another one was about sexual assault, particularly like from like a man's point of view.
Wow.
It's really weird because I've never had any of those experiences. So I don't know, like it just came to mind to write them.
And so you don't write that kind of material anymore.
Not really. I haven't in a while. I'm wondering if it's just like the delusional version of me is just like, everything is all rosy and happy, so just write happy stories or like stuff for people to be able to escape from and smile instead of
Yeah.
just feeling kind of heavy.
Sometimes the delusion is the solution. I have a friend who hates when people say that, but I am like wondering because I'm completely intrigued right now.
Mhm.
And although I am an unlicensed therapist, let me put that out there, right?
Mhm.
I still play a therapist on this show. And I am just like, wow, you had like all these. I remember in college writing very dark noir pieces, and I stuck with it because that's where I am. Anyway, I love writing it. But I like all the stuff that you said. I'm like, oh my gosh. In my mind, I'm like, that'd be great middle school stuff because so many kids are dealing with so much of it. Right. And just like seeing like how other people can go through it or even
Mhm.
YA stuff. But also, people do need happily ever after because I love falling into a book I can escape.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
I always
life,
like my
life is hard enough, especially for those babies in middle school. So I can understand why, but I'm just, yeah, I would love, absolutely love to see what you would do maybe later in your writing career when, you know what I'm saying? That's very
there may be
interesting.
there may be like some small focuses of it, like in like some of the stories that I write, but it's not usually the entire focus of the book, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
It does. It does. But even just, I think, acknowledging that these things are a part of even, this person's life who probably is great, right? Or not having a great thing, whatever the case is. I think just a hint of it, just a hint of that reality is very empowering for kids. I grew up, my mother is bipolar. So I grew up with a mentally ill mother. And I'm older, right? I'm 50. So I didn't have books that necessarily showed that when I was in middle school. And so like I think it would have been like, okay, so I'm not the only one here dealing with this. But how do you write that for middle schoolers and not traumatize them?
Yeah, that's always the hard part.
Yeah, right. Because you have to protect your readers. So yeah, that would put you in a precarious situation. But I don't know.
Books banned.
Oh
That's
my
another thing.
word. Let us not look, we cannot talk about that.
Yeah, that's a whole.
Right. That's a whole nother show. I would love to have one on just that. But yeah, I already, you answered this question. So that's pretty good. So at what point in your writing journey did you realize it's going to be middle school, middle grade YA stuff for me?
Because at the time when I was really young, when I wanted to start writing, it was like middle school, high school. I wanted to write what I knew. It was just something that I kind of stuck with. And even as I've gotten older, I still kind of gravitated more toward that to kind of, like mentioned earlier, kind of like living vicariously through my characters. One of my favorite types of characters to write are extroverts because I'm really introverted. So it's kind of fun being able to live through them, like through the pages of the stories and just kind of make the characters what I wish I could have been growing up.
Wow. That's a powerful statement. It really is because it speaks to, I think, a certain vulnerability. Most people associate vulnerability with like, being weak or whatever, but really it's an act of strength when you are able to state these types of things. And so, yeah, I think that's beautiful, a beautiful sentiment, writing what you wish you could have experienced. Do you find that it helps like to reshape your experience in middle school or any of that, or does it help you see yourself in that light?
Not too sure I understood the question. Sorry.
Okay, I can rephrase. So, like when you're writing these extroverted characters to vicariously experience extroversion, does it ever kind of leave an imprint on you as the writer, an extroverted imprint?
I actually haven't thought about that. I'm not sure really if it does because I'm still me, like who I am.
Mm-hmm.
It's just being able to kind of like put like a piece of me that I haven't been able to do on paper for other people to see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how to explain it.
No, it's fine. I find that like if I'm writing and spending time and putting attention and giving intention, right, to my writing, I find that inevitably pieces of my writing end up popping up in my life, which I think is really weird, but not really weird. Yeah, it's like I wrote about a big gray and black cat in one of my books, and my my protagonist was like, this was, I don't know, almost like a familiar, but I don't write like witchy stuff. But this cat was like a lifesaver and all the things. And I somehow ended up with a big gray and black cat, right? Once I was done writing it, I hadn't been like shopping for one, but that's what I have is a big gray and black cat with an M on its forehead. And so I just find little things like that happening after like writing a book, publishing it and sending it out there. Then I find like little bits of it like pop into my life.
That's really interesting. Maybe I just haven't been paying as close attention, really, but that's really interesting. I kind of want to think like more into that when I have the time.
Yeah. And I'm not the only one. That's why I don't mind saying it, right? Because if it was just me, I would keep it to myself because, girl, what are you doing? But it's not just me. So I've had other, writers say the same thing. And I think that's very interesting. So your themes that you primarily focus on are self-discovery, friendship, and the pursuit of acceptance. And you've already stated that you were very introverted. So I think these themes are like super important, right? Have you approached middle schools to say, hey, I wrote this book. I think it'd be great for a class read. I'd like to come in and work with you guys.
I haven't yet because imposter syndrome.
Let me tell you what one of my therapist friends said. She is a licensed therapist. She said, look, imposter syndrome is a white lady problem. I say in the great words of Miss Roosevelt, do something that frightens you every day, which of course is easier said than done, right?
Exactly.
It's time to hear from our sponsor, Southern Momentum Publishing House, where Black and brown women writers are seen, heard, and nurtured. Be sure to come back for the second half of the Black Writer Therapy podcast and find out which word Ella's guest, Latasha Crystal, would erase from the English lexicon and why. Now a word from Somo Publishing House, a boutique hybrid publisher for underrepresented Southern women writers.
Do you feel it? That tug? The one whispering, it's time to finally tell your story. At Southern Momentum Publishing House, we know that tug well. It's the start of something bigger. Your voice, your truth, your power on the page. Whether it's been years in the making or just an idea waiting to blossom, we are here to help you take the leap. No excuses, no waiting, just momentum. Visit us today at somopubhouse.org and start your next chapter now.
We're back for the second half of Black Writer Therapy with host and unlicensed therapist Ella Shawn and her guest, middle grade writer Latasha Crystal.
Right? Do something that frightens you every day.
Yes, sometimes I think I'm like, yeah, I should be brave, but then when it's time, I'm like, no, I think I'm just going to stay in my comfort zone.
It'll happen. And the reason I think it'll happen is because you will come to understand the importance of putting your work in the hands of the people who really need it, But yeah, that makes sense. And you've answered my question for that. We are moving along quite rapidly here. Cool. We're in rapid fire questions. Now, listen, you are not supposed to think about anything. You're supposed to hear the question, rattle it off. And I am seriously going to try not to engage in additional comments to see if we could do 5 and 5. Okay, rapid fire 5 for 5.
I'll try my best not to think too much.
It's not going to happen. I'm going to tell you, it is not going to happen. And I am not going to not say something because if you can't tell already, I talk quite a bit. All right. Number 1, if you could delete one word from the English language forever, what would it be?
I'm allowed to say like lewd words. I delete the word cock.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Now, why would you see? I told you it was not going to happen. Why would you delete cock?
It sounds not pretty. I don't know.
Thank you. And I am a gamecock, right? Like graduated from U of SC here in Columbia, South Carolina, which is where I am. And so, yeah, that was like, that's all I grew up hearing. But I think when I started writing and reading, and it's just everywhere. And you're just like,
yeah, I cringe every time I see it.
Yeah, because it's like, that and member, like all of that, all of the little euphemisms, just stop with that foolishness, please. Okay, good choice. I like that. If the writer's life was a video game, what would be the final boss?
The final boss would be their self in a way that's kind of like the main voice in your head, like as a person. It would be that
Oh, wow.
trying
Oh,
to
we
stop
love
you
that.
from like the that main voice as a person is trying to stop you from achieving greatness or winning the game or something. And then you have to kind of, well, ignoring it wouldn't really be an option, but
You have to beat it.
yeah.
Listen, and let me tell you how lame I am. I had no idea. I'm like looking up game lingo, right? Because you're a gamer. And I was like, wait a minute. I don't know what this final boss thing is, but I like the way it sounds. And then I had to go look it up because I was like, I can't ask about something I don't know. I love that concept. Like I'm now thinking, what would be my final boss? How would I love that whole concept. So thank you so much for being a gamer and allowing me to go out here and learn something new because this is going to be a thing, I think. Whereas, yeah. And you chose a good one too, your inner critic. Could you
It was
imagine?
that would, yeah.
I'm at Rock'em Sock'em Knock'em. So you do understand where my game level would be, right? Okay. Yeah. You could get that inner critic. Like there's no more imposter syndrome. There's no more any of it, right? Because you're just like
Yeah.
doing the darn thing. Oh my God. High five in the air for that one. Double high five. You did great. I love it. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm the reason it's not 5 for 5. What's a book you pretend you've read, but actually never finished?
There's actually a lot. The first one that actually came to mind was The Scarlet Letter. It was so in high school, I tried to be like the rebellious, like I don't want to read the books that were assigned because nobody else is reading them. So that was kind of me. And it's always been hard to get into books like that. I forever like the cutesy, like fiction, like contemporary, like romancy type books. And if I remember correctly, I think that one was a little bit like heavy. So it was a little hard for me to get into, but I read the summary of it a long time ago.
You see me crumple. Like this is like one of my favorite books, right? And people would look at me and be like, you? The Scarlet Letter? It is one of my favorite books. I taught it, obviously. And I think it was the way I taught it that made it my favorite book because I hated it in high school. I was like, this is garbage. And what are we doing? But I taught it from a Black feminist lens. And so when I did that, like my students ate it up and guys and girls, and they really learned a lot about how to analyze a book from, a different lens than just the stuff they teach you in high school. And I just remember giving them this really cool art project where they had to find feminist artists who made statements and commentary on sociopolitical systems of oppression for women of color. I don't care who was, and I taught in like predominantly white schools, but they're like, but women of color all over the world, you need to find this, and then you need to recreate their art piece. And they went to town on it, and just like it was brilliant, even from my students who hated reading. So yeah, whenever I hear people say Scarlet Letter sucks, I'm like, you didn't have the right teacher. You didn't have the right teacher.
Because it wasn't until actually when I was in college, this one English professor that I had, I didn't think I'd like Toni Morrison's books, but then like the way she taught it, she made me really enjoy reading it, even though it's darker than I'm used to, but I love it because of her.
Yes. And like, honestly, I don't know anyone who could come in contact. If you love words, I don't know anyone who could come in contact with Toni Morrison's work. I don't care how dark it is, even The Bluest Eye, because that was a little bit like, ooh, like, oh yeah, that hurt me to read. And I write in that vein. But I think if you are a logophile, you can't read Toni Morrison and not fall in love with just her craft, right? Like I read her books as a study in craft. I'm not reading craft books because ill, but I read her books to study craft, right? Because wow, yeah. I'm glad that you had the right teacher for Toni, because if you had said girlfriend, and I don't even like Toni Morrison, that I was going to say, girl, this is over, bye, and it's not going to be aired. I don't know who you are. We can't talk. So yes, I'm so glad that you love Toni Morrison. What's more nerve-wracking? First day of school? First day on a new job?
Probably first day on a new job, I'd say.
Really? Tell me why. Tell me the most horrible thing that happened on the first day of a new job for you. Okay.
A lot of the things it's mostly the imposter syndrome again, just thinking, oh, like, what if I mess up and what if I get fired on the first day for like not learning this quick enough, or What if no one likes me? Like it's the same thing that's for school, but kind of hits a little bit harder, like as an adult in a way. Making friends as an adult is incredibly hard.
Say that again, like 50 times, right? Because I don't think people recognize how difficult it is to make friends as an adult.
It is.
What even is that? I don't even know how you do it.
I
Seriously, like I think when I was teaching, you make friends on your job, right? Because you see each other every day and blah blah blah. But I had friends. I thought I had friends, like because I taught, so I had all my teacher friends. We went out on the weekend, blah blah blah. Kids were in the same grade, so we had birthday parties, blah blah blah. And then I quit working. I had to come home after I had, some illnesses, and I came home. And I was like, slowly but surely, all those work friends
just disappear. Like it always happens.
And I was like, well, damn, I thought we were friends. I thought we were girls. What happened? Where are you now?
Same exact thing with me with school, like with work sometimes. But as I started work and I met some people who I really did enjoy, I tried my best to keep in touch with the people who I really made connections with. But most of the times it's just we're work friends. And then when one of us leaves, then we just never speak again. And that's
it.
Sad, but I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, and these friendships are like intense, right? Because you are kicking it, you're sharing stories, like these people and you have allowed these people to know you. But the moment you're not seeing them 5 days a week in the office or in the school or wherever you are, then they are gone. Fair weather friend. And it's just like, where'd you go? What happened? And hello, I am just ill. I'm not dead. It's just the weirdest thing. And so it made me question, do I want friends? Because those were my friends. And so I've decided if I can't consider you found family, if you're not going to fill that role, I don't have any friends. And that is probably a little bit, extreme. But again, I'm 50, right? So I can be as extreme as I want to. That's what I say. But I'm just like, if you can't be found family, if my kids won't call you auntie, even though they're old, I know you're not my sister, we can't be friends. I don't need friends. Again, it's probably horrible of me to say. But friends, finding them is really hard. It's really hard. Shoot. Now I'm depressed. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That was a good answer. You're giving really great answers and you're making me think. So this is my last question, and then I'm going to pivot because I realized I have not heard anything about this book.
That's fine.
Yeah, same. That's what happens when you have an organic show. What's the story you're too scared or not ready to tell yet?
A fictional story or a story about myself?
A fictional story.
I actually really have to think about this one.
This is my stump 'em question.
Yeah. Well, this would probably be like anything that goes against what I was taught growing up. I came from a strict Christian household, so anything that has to do with homosexuality or anything. I have a couple of stories actually in mind that kind of touch on that I haven't written or put out there yet. So just basically anything considered taboo, I think, or that goes against what I've been taught growing up.
Wow. You've said a mouthful. You really have said a mouthful, because I think so many writers, we have so many aspects to self. And I don't know that people recognize that, right? You have you here right now, like I have 50-year-old Ella, and then I have 10-year-old Ella who has all of that I grew up with, and all the 20-year-old, 30, all the Ellas. And at some point it's like, you write this piece, right? I wrote 4 books of erotica and I didn't do anything with them. I put them out. I did not promote them. I didn't do any advertisement, nothing. I didn't even try and sell them. Why? Because I grew up Baptist and I grew up Southern Black Baptist here. And I was like, I cannot be the person who's writing erotica. What's my family going to say? How are they going to look at me? And this is that and the third. Eventually, I'm getting over it, right? I'm at the point now where I can at least say, hey, I write erotica sometimes and other things. But I hear you, I feel you, and yep, I was there with you for a long time. Good answers, man. Really great answers. Okay. I'm pivoting, I'm backsliding, I'm doing all the things that all wrong, but your book, Rocky Crescendo, first and foremost, the title is everything.
Thank you.
How did you come up with it?
So I'm actually the worst with titles. So boyfriend at the time. He's the one who came up with it. I'm awful with titles. But it's pretty much because the main character, her name is Rocky, and then the story is mostly focused on music. She's a singer, and it's basically her breaking out of her shell, like discovering herself. So it's kind of like a Rocky crescendo.
Oh, how clever. You should keep that. If he wasn't horrible and you guys are still friends, you should keep him around for titles because that's beautiful.
He's my fiance now, so
because you were like my boyfriend then, and in my mind, he's gone. He's not there
anymore. Yeah.
You're engaged.
Speaking correctly, yeah. He was my boyfriend at the time, but now he's my
fiance. Very good. Okay, yay, keep him because that's pretty dope. Because I'm thinking Rocky Crescendo, and I wasn't even thinking about the whole Rocky Crescendo, like coming into yourself. I'm giving hand claps. I love that. So who is Rocky based on?
He's a little bit more of an extreme version of me growing up. I was shy, but I like to think it wasn't to Rocky's extent. To Rocky's extent, she couldn't even talk to people without or think about social situations without having panic attacks and stuff. Yeah.
How is it writing that? And you're still, you know what? You're still dealing with mental illness. Yeah. You're like, I'm not going to, and it's too dark. It's not dark, but you're still putting this in. This is so good. I'm happy to know. I'm not happy that Rocky has social anxiety, but I'm happy to know that you have put this bit in, but you're probably not harping on it.
No, it's a part of her, but it's not I guess the main focus. The main focus is her trying to better herself. Yeah.
So I love how you're doing this, and you're doing it probably we're not even thinking about doing it. So how was it writing that?
I kind of thought it was actually a little bit refreshing, kind of being able to write it down, just kind of thinking back to the way that I used to think and then just kind of amplifying it a little bit. I did actually have a beta reader tell me, you might want to harp it down just a little bit because her anxiety almost gave me anxiety. I was like, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. I love this. Good.
But it was pretty refreshing being able to kind of write about it and then think, oh man, poor Rocky. I wish I could just give her a hug and being my middle school self, with the way that I was, sometimes I wish I could go back and tell myself, hey, it's okay.
I think you did. That's what you did with Rocky Crescendo. I don't know that people consider what we do as writers. You're like, I haven't written my cathartic book yet. You are always writing cathartic books, contrary to popular belief.
Interesting.
I know.
That way, yeah.
Told you, unlicensed therapist in the house. And I don't even charge by the hour. Yeah, I haven't read Rocky Crescendo, but I plan to. I have 12 sessions per season. There's no way I can read 12 books. I tried it my first season. I was crazy. I couldn't write. I couldn't do anything. But I have all my TBRs, and I try to make sure I read every guest, at least one of their books. And lucky for you, girl, I love some middle grade writing. I absolutely love it because I find that I'm either y'all not writing for middle grade or I have the brain of a middle grader. I don't know.
That's with me too. I have the brain of a middle schooler, high schooler. So that's another reason why I enjoy writing it.
That's dope. Okay. Where am I? She starts her transformation journey with the support of two friends. Nope. My bad. I can't read. With the support of two friends, right? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You think that's common?
Yeah, definitely. The people who you surround yourself with can really make or break who you become. If you have people who are really supportive, like Rocky's friends, Haley and Adam, they were incredibly supportive of her wanting to break out of her shell, and she wants to be a famous singer, but is also really shy. So they're always the ones encouraging her to, no, you got this, you can do this, you love this, to get her out there.
I love this. This sounds like a really sweet book. Probably some, tough moments in there, I would imagine, with being so shy. We're not going to talk about this. Read the book, figure it out. But yes, I love this whole thing in the coming. 8th grade's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. It really is. I'm sitting and I'm thinking, I know I sound very thoughtful right now, but I'm just it's really hard to be in the 8th grade, especially for a girl. And I don't care. Yes. I should care, especially for little Black girls. It's hard. So thank you for writing into this. I think it's very important. We need this. Now I'm contemplative. I'm sorry. I get that way sometimes when I'm just thinking back and just looking back on my kids, on my experience. You're doing good work. So thank you so much, Latasha,
I
for
appreciate you
inviting
saying
me
that.
into this space. Yeah, yeah. I'm not a nice woman. I never proclaim to be nice, but I'm honest. I'm always honest. We're going to go a little bit over, but that's okay because we're playing this game.
Okay, sounds good.
Look, and with my evil smile, we are playing this game. It is called The Audacity of Game Changers. And it is my not humble opinion that Black women writers are game changers. Whatever we write, it changes the world. And that's what I said. I'm going to stand by it. And so I have this game where you, Miss Latasha Crystal, will be telling me an impromptu short story. There's the reaction. It's fun. It's fun. It's easy. It doesn't have to be like 3,500, 3 to 5 minutes. Here's how it goes. I have the word. I have 10 packs of cards. And so first I need you to choose a number, 1 through 10.
Let's go 6.
Okay, cool. You. You chose something perfect for you. Okay. I don't know how y'all do that. It's always like right what we've been talking about the whole time. Okay. Anywho, now I need you to choose a letter from the word audacity.
Oh, let's go with the A.
Oh, I think I have 2 A's in here. So let me find mine. Okay. Oh, I'm excited. So the word you chose, and you're not probably going to be able to see it clearly.
So it's the big one that's on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So your word is answer. So you have to use it in your story at least once. And your topic is challenge and overcoming. See why I said it was perfect?
Yeah.
There. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to think about some things. Challenge and overcoming is your topic, and your word is answer.
So is this like a whole like, am I putting too much thought into it? Is it like how long? Like, do I have to like say it?
Read it.
Okay. Okay.
Take
So
a
you
deep
said
breath.
overcoming and the word answer has to be in there.
Yes, it's about challenges and overcoming. I'm getting out my little timer here, and answer has to be in there. Old lady working the cell. And your time starts now.
There once was a girl, a little girl who was wanting to better herself. She thought being able to, oh my gosh, this is hard. She thought the answer to that was going to the gym to make herself physically stronger, so that way she could also feel better about herself. But there was this person who was there who was extra mean and telling her she shouldn't be here because she's a girl and she doesn't know what she's doing. So they said a lot of mean stuff to her and caused her to not want to go back. So she didn't at first, but then she had a talk with a friend who said, "You're never going to be able to change unless you just keep pushing." And the little girl was like, "But I don't know what I'm doing." And then the friend was like, "Well, we all have to begin somewhere." So the little girl went back, and then the gym bully was there again. And then the little girl said, "You can't hurt me anymore because I'm doing this for me, not for you." And the gym bully felt powerless because they couldn't get the reaction from the little girl that they wanted. Wow, I'm sorry.
You're good. You still have time.
Okay. And then the bully tried harder by filming the little girl making a mistake, posting it online, and then the bully was not met with the reactions that they were hoping for. People were defending the little girl and calling the gym bully out for being mean. And then the gym bully got banned from the gym, and the little girl was there. She went back and she was able to continue to push herself to become physically and mentally stronger and learn to ignore the noise and all the people who said that she can't do stuff. That was a very choppy story.
You know what? You are a feel-good writer. Like literally, I had the story going in a million different ways. There was blood and violence involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me. But I'm just like listening to it, and I don't know if you noticed, it was just smiling and nodding. And I was like, yes, get the bully, right? You are such a feel-good writer. It's a natural state, I think. Because honestly, when you said that the bully, she went back and the bully was still there, and I was like, he's still gonna be jackbutt. he's still going to be a jackass to her. And he was. And I was like, she's going to kick his tail. That's what's going to happen. She's going to lay him out with, right? Because, but then you went somewhere I was not expecting. I was like, Paper, why are you recording her? What is your problem? And then putting it online. And so I love the twist. You have a lot of plot twist in your long form writing. I can tell you're a gamer. This is because there's always like you didn't see this coming moment. I love it. The plot twist got me. I was not expecting that. Really wasn't. Oh, I love your story. It was really good. I can appreciate a good bully get his comeuppance. Yeah, good job.
Thank you. That was super hard, like getting put on the spot to like just think of something. I was like, oh, I don't know.
I know.
I like to plan, like break down stuff. Yeah.
That's why I do it. And not because I'm diabolical, but I think it's such a good practice. It's one of my writing practices. Like I pull a prompt and tell a story and see what comes out, and I'll record it and see, well, what'd you say? What worked? What didn't work? How can you fix it? It's one of the ways that I work on my craft, because I hate craft books. I cannot read them. It's too boring. So, Miss Latasha, we have, look, we're not too bad. We're like 8 minutes past an hour. So we did good. I just have to tell you, you are so delightful, and like, you're like springtime, which is dope.
Thank you. I've never heard that before, but thank you. It's really nice.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I'm going to say instead of you're welcome. So then I don't have to worry about that girl. So yeah, thank you. And tell us about the upcoming projects that you have. I want my listeners to be aware that you are out here and still penning stuff.
Well, this next one, the main character for Rocky Crescendo, like they're more like middle school, like early high school. This one is later in high school. It's a rom-com, actually. I'm really excited about that. It's the classic, like, good girl falls for a bad boy.
Had mine.
I'm terrible with summary, so I'm going to try to explain without, like, telling the whole book. But there's this girl, straight A, overachiever, and she has to tutor the school's troublemaker. And then they just end up, connecting, and sparks are flying. And neither of them expect it.
I love a good. You don't even understand how much I love this whole like good girl, bad guy thing. It is one of my favorite things to read.
So I'm super excited about that one.
Yeah. Okay. Good for you. I'm going to look out for this. How can my audience connect with you? How can they get in touch, stay in touch with you, see what's going on with you?
The best way to do that would be social media. I'm primarily active on Instagram. The handle is at Tasha_writes_books. I just started getting into TikTok a little bit too. I'm just camera shy, so I don't post as often on TikTok, but I'm trying to get more into that. So that'll probably be the best way to reach me for now.
Okay, very good. And where can they pick Rocky Crescendo up?
So they can pick it up anywhere that sells books, really. On my on my social pages, I have the universal link. So they have like Amazon, Barnes and Noble, like basically anywhere that you can get books.
Very good. Is it ebook and paperback?
Yes.
Good. Very good. Well, again, you have been amazing, and like, honestly, so happy that we were able to figure out this date and get this recorded. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
So we're going to go ahead and sign off. And yeah, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Black Writer Therapy, where we amplify and celebrate the voices of unapologetic Black women writers. We're proud to be part of the Alive Podcast Network. Be sure to tap into the only Black woman-owned podcast network with its very own proprietary platform and app. When you download the Tap In app, you gain access to nearly 100 Black creative voices. To support Black Writer Therapy, subscribe and choose me as your favorite podcast host. 50% of your subscription fee goes directly to this show and allows me to continue to bring you quality content like this. Until next time, remember, be kindest to yourself first, always, and in all ways. I am Alishan, your host for Black Writer Therapy Podcast.